to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is Cook and Cassius for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It is Friday brunch. I'm joined by...
Brunch is interesting. What is your idea of timings for brunch? If you were going to have a brunch, what time would it be?
Between the hours of 11 a.m. and 12 p.m.
That's very specific.
And you?
Well, there are a lot of brunches that take place post-lunch, which doesn't really make sense because brunch is breakfast and lunch, so it should be in between.
Yeah, between 11 and 12. What I said was accurate, wasn't it? Because 12 o'clock is lunch, 11 o'clock prior
Yeah,
to...
but when you go to Dubai and places like that, they have the brunch in the afternoon. Have you noticed?
Yeah, but they're different kind of brunches, aren't they?
They're lively brunches. Yeah. Great chat, by the way.
How are you, first of all?
Very well, thank you. Tired. Like, the travelling has been knocking the bollocks out of me, in all honesty. But no show this weekend, and then really big fight week next week. I think one of the best cards we put on this year. Brilliant night, really looking forward to it at Wembley Arena. And then Chocolatito against Estrada, and then Warrington against Lopez, and then we're done. So 3 more hard weeks of graft, then a little bit of downtime. And now is really all about putting the schedule together for the back end of January, February and March. And a lot of exciting things happening. Obviously AJ to sort out as well. The Conor Benn situation rolling on. See what the outcome is and the decision there. Big fight for Dillian White next week. Legendary trilogy the week after. Massive fight for Josh Warrington to set up the big Lee Wood fight and the unification. Yeah, just feeling good, mate. How are you? I feel like I don't really ask how you are. How are you?
Today...
You don't... Your mojo... yeah, I'm worried about your mojo today. I feel like we need to lift your energy. Because I feel like energy is about being around people with good energy. So I need to lift your energy. So I'll tell you this now. Now, you may be feeling a little bit down. You may be feeling a little bit low. You may be feeling a little bit tired. But let me tell you about what you have done for the YouTube industry in this sport. You have revolutionised this sport. In fact, you've been a big part, not as big as me, of making this sport massive in this country. So sometimes you get down. Sometimes you get niggled by people on social media having pops. Don't. Stay true to yourself. Understand what you have done, the achievements you have made. And by the way, it wasn't so long ago that you, Coog and Cassius, were serving the deep pan pizzas in Pizza Hut in Basildon. Look how far you've come, boy. Be proud of yourself. Pop the chest. Let's go.
To be fair, that was 1999.
You still did it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a Nando's now, if anyone wondered. Yeah, it is a Nando's.
When I was about 14, 15, I always used to go to the Matchroom gym in Romford. And 15, yeah, maybe 16, Havering College. And I'd meet up with Francis Ampofo, whoever else there, Herbie Hyde normally. And there was a deep pan pizza. Do you remember Deep Pan Pizza Company? On the corner, right? It was unbelievable. It started as a Pizza Hut, then became a Deep Pan Pizza Company. And it was I'm actually dribbling telling this story because it was so nice. £4.99. Do you remember the day? You could just go up there, right? And there was pizzas everywhere, pasta station. And you could eat as much as you could for £4.99. This was a major reason of my late teen obesity, I feel. And this was actually a reason I think I've struggled with my weight for years and years. I am a beast. £4.99, as many pizzas as you can. It was a minimum of an 8-slice feast.
You're blaming that on your...
And that I'm agreeing with fucker.
Okay.
We're good now?
Yeah, no, we're all right. Okay, I'm a 6 out of 10 now. Let's go. I was a 5 before the conversation, so well done, mate. Let's talk about next week.
Yes.
Dillian White in action. It's been a long period of time not knowing whether Dillian was even going to fight on Matchroom. What was going on behind the scenes? Can you kind of summarise that?
Dillian White has never had a contract with Matchroom. We've always had a fight-by-fight deal. I respect Dillian. He's shown us a great amount of loyalty. So have we. And, God, how many fights have we done now? I don't know. Well over a dozen fights together. Obviously, we lost a purse bid for the Fury fight. Everybody was trying to sign him after that. He chose to go with Matchroom and DAZN, which we're very pleased and proud about. And this is his charge now, another shot at the world heavyweight title. I think it's a great fight against Jermaine Franklin. We did the head-to-head yesterday, which was a lot of fun. Dillian's very bullish, very confident. Buddy McGirt was there. I think it's a great link-up. I'm excited to see the changes. And I think it's a really good fight. Honestly, like, I know that my job is to sell the shows, but when you look at the show next Saturday at Wembley, Dillian White against Jermaine Franklin is a really good heavyweight fight. Fabio Wardley against Nathan Gorman is such a good domestic fight. The British heavyweight title is so important, and that is the perfect British heavyweight fight. Craig Richards against Bolotniks, great fight. Sandy Ryan against Anahi Sanchez, great fight. Mark Dickinson, Pat McCormack, plenty more as well. It's a really, really good card and a massive night for Dillian because the pressure's actually really on him. Like, Jermaine Franklin fancies this. And if Dillian was to lose to Franklin, he's in a really difficult position. And Jermaine, I said in the head-to-head yesterday to Jermaine Franklin, if you win this fight, you're fighting Anthony Joshua. And you're getting 7 figures plus and you're about to change your life. And he's like, I'm one uppercut away from changing my world forever. It's a very, very dangerous fight.
Let's just come back to the British title fight between Wardley and Gorman. Because when you look at like Wardley's opponents, he's been in with some decent opposition up until then, but where does Gorman rank amongst that? Because other than the fact that he's a British opponent and a very decent heavyweight, where does he rank amongst like Molinas and all these kind of guys?
Better, more hungry, and just wants it more. I mean, this is definitely the toughest fight of Fabio's career. I think Fabio Wardley is an incredible story. I mean, when he started with us, and by the way, another fighter that's been incredibly loyal to us as well with other people, and we've done a great job for him. He's been superb, and this is his crunch moment, and we're all massively behind him. Because when you look at it, what's his background? A couple of white-collar fights. And very rarely do you see a fighter progress through that background to be at the top end of the sport. Now this is the British title level. I feel like he can go on and actually become a world championship contender in time. But this is the acid test. And this time he's fighting someone with a very good boxing IQ, who's tough, that can punch as well. And it's just, honestly, it's a brilliant matchup. I say it's a 50-50. I obviously favour Fabio. But the thing with Fabio is, when he was coming through, you wondered if that pedigree, the amateur pedigree that doesn't exist, would hinder him in his development. But he's worked really hard. I think he's mentally very strong as well. And I'm really excited about it. I think he punches hard. And I think he's going to knock Nathan Gorman out. I do. I think it'll be a great fight. Obviously, Callaghan's got Nathan, and it's Matchroom against Wasserman, which is going to be great banter as well. And brilliant fight. Can't wait. 1,000,000% behind Fabio. I believe he's going to do the business.
Just coming back to Dillian White and Jermaine Franklin, if you're saying that to Jermaine Franklin about you'll fight Anthony Joshua next, does that mean that if Dillian White is to win on next Saturday, that you're going to put him straight in with Anthony Joshua, or could that drag on till the summer?
I think there's a very good chance you'll see it next. I mean, for AJ, he's set to start his camp really at the turn of the year. So he's looking to fight in March. So we look how Dillian gets through if he wins. Do we go straight to White against AJ, or do we do that in the summer in the stadium? I'm happy to go straight into it, but we've got to speak to AJ's training team, see how Dillian White comes through. But it's definitely a focus to make AJ against Dillian White if he's victorious. There really is some massive fights out there. I mean, AJ, Deontay Wilder remains a huge fight. He's fighting Andy Ruiz, but then after that, we'd love to make that fight. See what happens with Fury and Usyk. Obviously, you've got Hrgovic now mandatory. It's exciting times. I said yesterday in an interview, a lot of these belts are going to start to fragment and become vacant after the undisputed fight. And I think you need to position yourself now accordingly within the governing bodies that you're targeting.
Has there been any further conversations with Team Wilder?
Not really.
No, not really.
No, just that, we messaged them in August. They came back, I think, beginning of November and said we'd be up for talking about the fight. I said we'll come back to you on Dillian White and Anthony Joshua we'd love to make the fight. We've got meetings in the Middle East early next week where we're looking at the schedule for 2023. That's the kind of fight that obviously they would love to acquire. But after the Ruiz fight was ordered at the convention, not a lot of conversation there.
So if Wilder is to fight Ruiz next, and Ruiz was to beat Wilder, does then Ruiz become a person of interest for you, for Anthony Joshua?
It's 1-1. The first fight was nuts. The second fight was a shutout. But Andy Ruiz is a great fighter, and I see Andy Ruiz. I think he could beat Wilder. I really do. I think he's got the IQ to beat him. Obviously, we know how hard Wilder punches. He's so exciting and dangerous. It's a brilliant fight. That is a brilliant fight, and I guess that'll happen early next year. And then whoever wins that fight, I can't lie, the Wilder AJ fight is a much bigger fight than the Ruiz trilogy, in my opinion. I think you'd agree with that. But see what happens in that fight.
What was the main reason, ultimately, that stopped Anthony Joshua from fighting in 2022, December?
Time, probably. I mean, he always wanted to fight on December the 17th. He was told by Fury that the only date he could fight him was December 3rd. We agreed to move forward on that. We couldn't make the fight. And after that, it's a bit of a mojo killer, really. It was like, oh, okay. And then next thing, he went away. Next thing, he came to Abu Dhabi for the fight out there. And then you've got to train over Christmas if you want to go January or February. And he just decided, look, I'm going to chill out. And there was a lot, obviously, going on after the Usyk fight. I feel like the break, although we want to keep him active, at the same time, there's no problem with having that time off over Christmas. And there's no difference for him fighting January, February or March. So if he can chill out, start camp on January, March will be the comeback fight. But I feel like after the Fury mess, he wasn't disheartened. He was just like, all right, well, I'm just going to chill out. And I'm not going to start camp because I don't feel like it. It's just not motivated. I haven't got the big fight, so I'm going to relax and start camp in January.
Just coming on to the situation regarding Alexander Usyk and Filip Hrgovic, what is the latest on that? Is that likely to take place? Is there a lot, obviously, with Tyson Fury to be decided regarding that?
So we had the email from the IBF to say start negotiations for Hrgovic against Usyk. With the IBF, they have a rule that if you're not willing to negotiate, you can call a purse bid immediately. And we put that request in. We said we're not willing to negotiate. It's a request of Hrgovic, and obviously we were partners with Callis Allen on Filip Hrgovic. We'd like to go to purse bid. So we're waiting the purse bid date for that fight. There's also the WBA, and obviously you have this chronological mandatory situation. The WBO's just happened, they're the end of the queue, and then you've got the IBF, WBA, who goes first, etc. Our job for Filip Hrgovic is to push for that fight as soon as possible. Also, I wouldn't say we're conflicted, but we are good friends, obviously, with Prince Khalid and Saudi, who have worked very hard to stage that undisputed heavyweight fight. It's a big fight for boxing. We acknowledge it's an important fight for boxing, but we also have to do the right job for Filip Hrgovic. So there's a lot of conversations going on behind the scenes, and I guess it'll play out over the next couple of weeks. If I'm being honest, like, I think generally, under the IBF rules, they can't actually allow that fight now. Purse bid's been called, but we know it's boxing, and it is a big fight, and you've seen rules change for big fights, and of course, the front runner still to take place is Fury against Usyk, but Filip Hrgovic is right there ready to challenge.
So am I right in saying it's only Filip Hrgovic can allow that situation to happen, or they'll have to drop the belt?
Under the rules, yes.
But isn't it make more sense for him to put something where he fights the winner straight after for all the belts?
It's very dangerous to say fight the winner after. We've seen that in the past. It just sometimes doesn't play out. But listen, again, because of our relationship with Prince Khalid and Saudi, we're all up for talking and resolving the situation. The WBA might call their mandatory. Who knows what's going to happen? But for us, it's about positioning Filip Hrgovic. We don't have Tyson Fury. We don't work with Alexander Usyk at the moment. We work for Filip Hrgovic, and we have a job to do for him.
Okay, so situation isn't clear, basically, what could happen in that?
Nothing ever is, old boy.
Okay, let's talk about some news over the last 24 hours. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. the DAZN element into this is very interesting. Who says people can't work together, eh?
It's really good. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I'm not involved in it. I mean, I'll take the credit, but I'm definitely not involved in it. And I think everyone's done a great job. I mean, there seems to be a little bit of uncertainty as to when and where, and I think they're both having a fight first. So I was under the impression the fight was going to happen in January, but now I think they're having a fight first, and then they'll do it in March or something like that. Brilliant news. I really feel like we're on the verge of getting a lot of big fights because, you know, I looked at that thing you went to in Dubai, right? I really worry for the sport, in all honesty. Like, I don't mind that, by the way. Like, I think that's entertainment. It's not really boxing. But unless we make fights like Ryan Garcia against Gervonta Davis, we will put ourselves in difficult positions to keep boxing as relevant as it should be. It's always going to be a big sport. And Stephen Espinosa, Joe Markowski, Showtime, DAZN, big clap on the back if you get that fight up and running. We need that fight. Oscar, everybody involved. And also, look, for DAZN, massive. I mean, look, DAZN, you've got Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis both featuring on the DAZN platform, which is massive. And well done to everybody involved. I think it's the right thing to do. When you've got two guys, you know, they both carry significant commercial value in that fight. So you have to respect their respective commercial agreements. And like I said, hopefully that gets done and brilliant by everybody involved.
Just coming back onto your comment regarding the show from Dubai on Sunday night. So I'm assuming you, with your comments like that, you must regret being involved in this because you were one of the first people to be involved in this element of boxing. But you're not involved in it now, so you can pretty much say what you want.
No, not really. I don't regret anything. I mean, firstly, the show that I did was very, very different to what you attended in Dubai. By the way, I'm not knocking that show. It's entertainment. Did great numbers. And as a boxing purist, I find that quite difficult to watch. Now, someone else who's a YouTube fan, they love it. So I don't mind. My show that I did was very different. One, it was in the Staples Centre in LA. One, it had 2 or 3 World Championship boxing fights on the undercard, and it had the 2 biggest YouTubers in the world fighting each other in a rematch. Okay? I did it. I enjoyed it. I massively respect KSI, and I massively respect Logan Paul. I actually think he's a genius. And you look at what he's done in the WWE, he's also an outstanding athlete. And I look back on that with fond memories. It was a bit uncomfortable at times, but I decided not to do more.
Technically, that's not true.
It's not true at all. What are you talking about?
Well, because you then put on another show in Miami a few months after.
Yeah, where I had Jake Paul on the undercard in a 4-round fight against Anderson Gibb that was headlined by 2 World Championship fights. That was an undercard fight. But I decided I would not do YouTube boxing moving forward. And I stand by that. Doesn't mean I'll never do it again. Just putting that out there just in case you want to run this back. But it's not for me. I can't... You're not going to... You might believe the statement, but you might not believe the statement. I can't put my heart and soul into that. I can't. Because I am a boxing purist. I've been around this sport since I was 8 years old. I love this sport more than anything. I can't do that. And there's a difference, by the way, between KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. They're not bad. What you're seeing on the undercard of just random, that's not, I can't do that. I cannot do it. And I don't mind it. I'm not saying, turn it off. I just can't be involved with it. That's my honest opinion.
Ed, you're just picking out the most famous people and people that you've worked with to justify that reason.
Jake Paul, it's okay. Even KSI, when he fought Logan, it's not, you see the other stuff and it's like, it's funny and all that, but I can't do it. And I know everyone thinks I'm mad for a pound note, and I am. But I just can't, I can't do that. I can't. And luckily I'm in a position where I don't have to do that. But what it does do is put more pressure on me to produce the numbers and the fights. And I like that. And I feel like the Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, is a backlash of people moaning about fights not getting made. And that's what happens in boxing. You get peaks and troughs all the time, where big fights don't get made, everyone moans, and we bounce back. And hopefully Ryan Garcia against Tank is a start of the bounce back for a great 2023. And I don't knock the other stuff. Look, the other stuff's on DAZN. So I'm not going to sit here and, cane it, but it's just not something I would get involved with. But I see the numbers, and it's great for the platform. But I'm sticking to what I have a passion for and what I love. I'm not saying that I'll never do a Jake Paul fight. I mean, probably not anyway, or a Logan Paul fight. Okay, so something could come along. But I will not be promoting cards of YouTube boxing. I mean, the stuff with like Tommy Fury and John, it's honestly not for me. And maybe 10 years ago, I would have jumped all over it. But I don't feel like I have to do it. And I stand by, I want to do things that I have a passion for at this stage in my life and my career. And I've done that 4 years ago, wherever it was, 3 years ago. And it was an amazing experience. Made a lot of money. Did a lot of subs.
Yeah, Tommy Fury is not a YouTube boxer though, is he?
I'd like to see Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. And Tommy Fury is a boxer, but he's involved in YouTube cards and, Jake, I don't really call Jake, Jake is a YouTuber that is now a boxer. But I don't really associate Jake so much with YouTube boxing. I think he's more serious than that.
Okay.
And people can have a pop at my opinion, just like I can have a pop at their opinion. It's just my opinion. I don't hate it. I understand what it does. It does big numbers. It's just not for me.
Okay.
It's for you, don't it?
I'll watch it. I was there, so, I watched it because I was there.
Good numbers for you?
It's all right. It's not always about the numbers, Ed. Just
You got a passion for it, right?
have a passion for everything in life, mate. Can we talk about the possibility of Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas too?
Yeah, it's another good example of fights that we should make for 2023. Again, I don't really... I've made the mistake in the past of being very vocal about fights, trying to, upset people or rub people up the wrong way or just doing it without intention. I'm not really... We made an offer to Sky and Boxer to stage that fight. I didn't come out and issue a press release and say, we've made an offer, and Steffi knows about the offer, he mentioned it in a tweet. I'm not willing to say too much other than that is a fight for the undisputed light middleweight championship of the world. It's a rematch of a fight of the year, which happened just out there. I'm sorry, should we not be trying to make that fight? It's one of the best fights, not just in women's boxing, but in British boxing. And people say about, you and Natasha fell out and now you're coming back to offer it. No, I represent Terry Harper. She would like to be undisputed. She believes she beats Natasha Jonas. The fight sells out Sheffield Arena. It sells out Liverpool, Echo, M&S. Why wouldn't we try and make that fight? So we've made, obviously, career high offer for Natasha Jonas. She deserves it. She's been amazing to capture those belts. And we'd like to make the fight. We haven't heard back. We'll reload and we'll make an even bigger offer and we'll keep trying to make that fight. We're up for talking with Boxer about how the fight works, and I don't see why there should be any negativity about trying to make such an obvious fight. But we'll see where it goes.
When you make reference to negativity, so what's been happening to make you use that word? Just
those comments, now you want to work with Natasha. No, we had a great run with Natasha Jonas. She got beat, came back, we got her an opportunity to fight for the world title here, behind closed doors. It was a tremendous fight, very close. She went away, came back, then I got her a fight with Katie Taylor. She did very well in that fight, but she lost. And then, obviously, we parted ways. She's done amazing to come back. It's not about, now I want to try and make a fight. There's a chance for both fighters to make a fortune in that fight and to give the British public a great fight, that's all. So I don't want to, it's up to Natasha whether she wants to start negotiations for that fight. All I know is it's the biggest payday for both. I'd love to make it, sells out the arena, and I just feel like it's the kind of fight we should be making. It's an undisputed fight between two Brits, one from Liverpool, one from Doncaster, Sheffield. So hopefully we get it made. But it's no slipperiness, no beef. Just let's see if we can get it made.
How would you describe your relationship with Sky and Ben Shalom? And
I don't know. I mean, Frank Smith knows Ben. I think they talk, and he made the offer to Ben because they talk. No problem with it. I think Sky are doing a great job. Look, when we left Sky, they had a decision to either roll up their sleeves and go for it, or stay out of boxing. And they did the first. And I'm so pleased they did it because they're very important to boxing. So I think fighters are having it off at the moment. And that is because the competitiveness in the industry. So it's great for boxing and great for everybody that there's broadcasters that are continuously willing to heavily invest in the sport. So I've never met Ben. I don't have any problem with him at all. I think, they're doing a good job. Frank deals with him. This is not about Sky to Zone. This is just about making a fight between two Brits for the undisputed. And that's the most obvious fight to make on the planet. We work with McCaskill. I think they've mentioned her. Katie Taylor. That's not really a fight we're looking at for Natasha. And Natasha's unified at 154. Katie wants to rematch Serrano. I mean, you've got Chantel Cameron. We'd be willing to talk about Chantel Cameron against Natasha Jonas for undisputed as well. But you've got two champions in that division who have fought before in a thrilling fight. I would just think the undisputed fight is a natural fight. And I don't care how we do it. I would just like to do it. Because I don't worry about Natasha at the moment. I don't represent her. She's done amazing. I worry about Terry Harper. And I want Terry Harper to get a shot undisputed. I want Terry Harper to be able to change her life in a fight like this. And that's what we're trying to do. I don't know what. I always think I make the most sense you could ever imagine. But for me, I don't see how that can't make sense.
Do you think there's still a little bit of aspects of people not really wanting to work with you?
Of course.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I know you're saying that, but do you think this actually ultimately stops some fights from actually happening?
I think you're pretty. You've got an ego problem if you worry about me. You worry about yourself. You worry about your legacy. You worry about your bank account. This is the fight that secures the financial future of both fighters to live a fantastic life, but most importantly, become undisputed and create a great legacy in the sport. So why would you let Eddie Hearn get in the way of achieving that for yourself? I mean, it's pretty weird if you worried about me in that situation. This is about the two fighters. This is about the undisputed championship. This is about filling an arena. This is about providing a great fight for the sport. And this is about making both fighters a huge amount of money. And I don't, say I don't care about Natasha Jonas. We don't represent her. All I care about is Terry Harper. And if we have to pay Natasha Jonas a fortune to make that fight, but Terry also gets paid a fortune, I'm all in. We can talk about how the fight happens, where it happens. I don't care. Put it on Sky. Of course, I'd like to do it on DAZN, and that's what my offers are for. I would do this fight on Sky if it meant Terry Harper getting the opportunity. But I don't know why it can't be entertained. But we'll see.
What is the latest on Conor Benn's situation regarding his ongoing case, etc.?
Yeah, well, you heard from the WBC at the convention that hearing's opened up. So they will hear that. And I would say, I got asked the question yesterday, when? I don't know. 2 weeks? Ultimately, there's going to be a decision. They will take all the information on board. They will speak to all the scientists. They will speak to the laboratories. They will do all their research. They will hear the case. And they will make a decision. And the decision will be no ban or ban. And I have no idea. I'm not involved in the process. I've not been on any emails or correspondence between on the hearing, the lawyers or anything. That's his fight. I support him wholeheartedly. But I want a decision. That's the most important thing. Because we need to plan the future for Conor Benn. Now, if it's no ban, if it's 3 months, if it's 6 months, if it's 12 months, we need to know. So, and he needs to know. Mentally needs to know. So he can get his life back in order. That's the most important thing for me right now, is for him to become emotionally and mentally sound and draw a line through this either way. And that will be, say, imminent, but the process, like everybody wanted, is underway.
2 questions here. Do you think personally he will get a ban? And secondly, who will he receive a ban from?
Good question. The first one is, do I think he'll receive a ban? I think if he can't, again, when we talk about, everyone moans when people talk about contamination. There is a clear contamination issue here. It's up to the scientists and the hearing committee and the WBC to review whether there's enough evidence to prove that. If there is, it's still in his system. Okay, so that's the big test for Conor Benn. Now, I don't want to say too much because obviously this is, but do I think he'll receive a ban? I have absolutely no idea. A lot of people want him to. It doesn't mean that the facts can't play out in front of a jury for them to decide and the scientists to decide. But if he is going to receive a ban, then let's get that underway because I want his career to resume. It's been a horrendous situation for him. Some people don't feel sorry for him. I've seen the young man being broken through this situation and I want to see him get back on his feet. So let's see how it plays out. Secondly, who the ban would come from is the WBC. They control that, they have governance over that testing situation and they will decide. And ultimately that ban will be reflected within commissions. And we will not let him fight in any commission until that ban is served. This is not a case of he receives a ban and we go to another commission and say, don't worry about that ban, he'll fight here. Look, what the decision is the decision. And it's taken on the chin by everybody. Because that's how decisions are made. Not by Twitter, not by some bloke watching a fight. It's made by a governing body. And whatever they decide, we take on the chin and we move forward. Maybe he appeals, I don't know. But let's get the decision made. Let's go through the process. Let's let them see all the facts and make their decision.
Just a final one on this. I'm assuming it's correct that the British board cannot ban him. Is that true?
He doesn't have a licence with the British board.
But even if he did have a licence...
You can't ban a fighter that doesn't have a licence. I mean, ultimately, he will apply for a licence under a commission. Could be the British Boxing Board of Control, right? But at present, he doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence, can't be banned, can't be suspended. So he will have to decide, as we've seen, again, not to go back, Tyson Fury, exactly the same situation, doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence. So Conor will have the choice of where to apply for a licence. Now, would that be with a British Boxing Board of Control, which of course would be the preference? Would it be, does he go and fight in America? Would it be with a commission in America? Las Vegas, New York, wherever. So, but ultimately, that licence will not be applied for until this situation is resolved. And once he gets the decision, he will have an option to choose where he wishes to be licensed.
Okay. How are you and Jake Paul now?
Well, really, I don't really talk to Jake. A lot of all the negotiations for Amanda Serrano take place really with Sean Palmer, who's our, I say COO, really an absolute pivotal member of the global team, and Nikisa. So the key for us now is trying to make, one, Serrano against Cruz for the undisputed, and two, Serrano against Taylor at Croke Park. So that's very free-flowing and very positive. It's not, the Eddie and the Jake situation, we'll sort that out.
Has that been resolved?
No. But that will be resolved in some way. But it doesn't affect, Jake's not, and rightfully so, Jake's not going to let our dispute get in the way of delivering for Amanda Serrano. I actually respect that. You talk about earlier, sometimes that does happen. I'm not going to let my dispute with Jake Paul get in the way of making what Katie Taylor wants. This is a business. Forget the personal stuff with him. This is about delivering for our fighters. And one thing I say about Jake is he wants to deliver for Amanda Serrano. He's done an unbelievable job for Amanda Serrano. You talk about delivering life-changing opportunities. The first payday was huge. The next one will be bigger. And now you've got the undisputed fight as well. So we know what we're doing. We're trying to move forward with that, and everything's positive.
Lawrence Okolie put a few posts out recently. not specifically naming people in there. What have you made of Lawrence's post?
I saw it. I mean, he's come in for any fighters, managers, promoters, organisations that have worked again. I mean, I don't know. I mean, sometimes fighters get people in their ear who have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. The sad thing is that I've always got on really well with Lawrence, and he could have come in here for a coffee and we could have talked honestly and openly about everything. But everything was always positive until he started hanging around with people who have no idea what they're doing. And ultimately, you know, people talk about, going to court with fighters. The last thing we ever want to do is go to court with a fighter. But at the same time, you cannot, and I will never, let someone take the piss out of the job and the loyalty that we have delivered for them. And ultimately, with Lawrence Okolie, we have done the most unbelievable job for Lawrence Okolie. At times, when he hasn't delivered in the ring, we've backed him, we've kept going, and we've kept pushing opportunities. And one thing I'll also say is, he's done unbelievably well, because he's always stepped up in those fights and performed. And I can't do that, that's down to him. We got him British, Commonwealth, European titles. We got him headlining against Isaac Chamberlain at the O2. We got him fighting on all the big stadium cards. The job that Anthony Joshua did for Lawrence Okolie, the money that Anthony Joshua paid out of his pocket on his shows, particularly with the Prasovic fight at Tottenham Hotspur, particularly, going back to the Matty Askin fight. We then positioned Lawrence Okolie for a shot at a world title without actually really beating anyone of note. The title became vacant, and he was going to fight Glavatsky on the AJ Pulev card, remember? That fight fell through like 2 or 3 days before, and really we should have just rescheduled that fight. Me, 258, Anthony Joshua, decided to keep him on in a really easy fight, and AJ, again, that was AJ's show, paid him a fortune for that fight against Hrgovic, which was a 1-round, 2-round knockout, to keep him on, keep him active. Then we headlined him behind closed doors for a huge amount of money against Glavatsky. Then he defended his title at Tottenham Hotspur in front of 70,000. Then he headlined the O2 again against Sislak. Then we're pushing for a unification. Then he's supposed to fight in Saudi, and that's when he started talking to people and listening to people. People interfered with his contract and so forth. And he's got one fight left on his contract. And I'm not prepared just to say, let people come in and interfere with that contract. Whether you think I'm right or wrong, I'm telling you that's how I feel. And, forget the Rolex. Yeah, I bought him a Rolex. It cost me 40 grand. Do you know why I done that? Because I told him when we went into Sky Sports Studios, when I signed him and we announced him, that and there's always this thing about, if you win a world title with Matchroom, you get a Rolex. No. If I tell you, when you win a world title, I'm going to buy you a Rolex, I buy one. And there hasn't been many. Carl Froch. Not even sure with Kel. Ryan Burnett. Bought Ryan Burnett at Sky Dweller. It was like a huge portion of his purse, because I told him, when you unify the division, that's what I told him, I will buy you a Rolex. And I sat in the Sky Sports Studios with Lawrence Okolie, and I said, when you win a world title, I will buy you a Rolex. Now, I don't believe I said, I will buy you a rose gold Sky Dweller that's 40 bags. But I did say, I'll buy you a Rolex. And when he won the world title, he came to me and he went, I want a Sky Dweller. So I went out and I bought Lawrence Okolie a £40,000 Rolex Sky Dweller. Now, has that got anything to do with it? Not really, but it don't leave a great taste in the mouth, in all honesty. Because you know what I do? I keep to my word. That's all. And every step of Lawrence Okolie's career, I kept to my word. And I delivered everything for him. We changed his life, and he delivered in the ring. This is not about me taking the credit. We set up everything for him. A very easy path to get to where he got to for the world title. And then everything changed because he started listening to people. So it's no problem. If you want to leave, then we'll talk about it. But there's not any, it's not just, I'm leaving, see ya. No, you're not. You respect the contract. Because guess what? We respected you. So you respect us too. And there'll be no bad words from me. He can say what he wants. But the proof is in the facts and what we have done for that man's career. It has been unbelievable. He's never been a draw. He's been criticised. And I think he's a really good fighter. We've always kept faith in him, and he's always delivered. And actually, we worked very well together to get to where he got to. And I'm proud of him. You know, particularly was proud of him. And it's very disheartening to see people's influence and him say things. I look at what he says. I phoned him up after he posted something, and I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" "Oh, you know, it's mate. I've always gone with Lawrence. He can come in here, we'll have it out in here, we'll talk about it. But it's not that. It's you go away, you start hanging around with people who think they know about boxing, they think they know about money, the sport, and they don't. And that's what's happened here, you know. And Anthony Joshua done an unbelievable job for Lawrence Okolie. Unbelievable. Everybody did.
So, all right, look, last one on this. If Lawrence Okolie was to walk in this office now and you two had a sit down and spoke, are you saying that there is a possibility that you could...
Listen, as men, you sort things out.
Why hasn't he done that?
No idea.
Have you asked him why he hasn't done that?
Because people get in his ear, and he tried to go. And then we had to, you know, we wrote to Sky. Sky Sports sent him a proposal while he was under contract. And the proposal was the face of Sky Sports boxing. I've seen the proposal. It got sent to me. Lawrence Okolie is the new face of Sky Sports boxing. And I saw all the money, all the numbers. He was under contract to us. And we said, no, sorry. We've not lost all this money on Lawrence Okolie. We've not backed him over the years just to be mugged off. Sorry. So yeah, come in here. We'll sit down, we'll work it all out, and we'll probably resolve it in half an hour. But there's ways to go about it. I'm not going to go on social media, is this, is that. Look at the job we've done. And actually, it's about the only time on social media we get any support is this situation where everyone's going, Jesus Christ, Lawrence, not being funny, they've done a hell of a job for you. But anyway, we'll see it play out.
About the Rolex situation, because, like, for example, I've always thought to myself, if someone turned pro with you and they go on to win a world title, is that not a thing?
No, it's like Joe Cordino.
Yeah,
Joe,
I was going to say.
I never got my Rolex. I never said to Joe, if you win a world title, I probably will buy him a Rolex when he beats Rakimov, by the way. But with Lawrence, I looked him in the eye and I said, when you win a world title, he said to me, when I win a world title, will you buy me a Rolex? I said, yes. When you win a world title, I will buy you a Rolex. And guess what? He won it and I paid up. That's what you do.
Oh dear, you should have started it, to be honest with you. Anyway.
I've got to go.
All right, one more question before I let you go. Do we even bother getting excited about AJ Fury again? Is this fucked now?
No, don't do it.
No, why?
This fight will end up happening out of nowhere, and it will end up getting announced without you ever knowing about it. That's the best chance this fight's got. So don't talk about it. Let him fight Del Boy. Let the Usyk fight happen or Hrgovic or whatever, and we'll just slip under the radar. In my opinion, you will see AJ Fury, but let's not talk about it. And one day it'll just pop up on your social media, and you will do your beans.
You don't think that this was the best chance of it happening in the situation that played out?
Good chance. This fight will happen, but fights like this happen when people just get together in an unannounced meeting and go, should we do it? And hopefully we do.
Eddie Hearn, thank you very much. Oh, fucking hell. Nearly went over there, old boy. Thank you very much for your time. We look forward to next weekend, 26th, Over Arena, live on the Zone, stack card.
Huge card.
What more do you want? Come on.
What?
Can we do a little couple of tickets?
Yeah, we do 2 tickets for... What's the question? The question is...
Make it difficult.
The question is this. Hold on. Jermaine Franklin has 2 nicknames, okay? I want to know the 2 that I'm thinking of.
That you're thinking of.
And it's tough. You can't just text in and go, these 2. No, it's what I'm thinking of, so I will decide the winner.
So you let me know.
I'll let you know, and the winner can get...
So the first person tags you, IFL TV, and the 2 answers. The first person.
Yeah, correct. I'd also like to say that tomorrow at midday at the Hutton Community Centre, Brentwood Central ABC have a home show, a gym show, and I'll be down there tomorrow in Brentwood in Hearn if anyone wants to come along and support. Yeah,
What are you doing? A bit of refereeing?
No. One of my daughters goes to the amateur boxing club. And do you know what? The way I've seen that grow has been unbelievable. I opened that club and there was about 5 or 6 people in there. It is packed every night of the week. So shout out to Brentwood Central, shout out to Brentwood ABC as well, 2 clubs in Brentwood, and I'll be down there tomorrow if anyone fancies coming down.
And congratulations for winning GQ Man of the Year as well.
Thank you, mate.
I see you posted that. What did you get for doing that?
4 million quid. Yeah. No. I never said I won it. Dimitri Bivol come back and said congratulations.
Because you worded it like you won it. 100%.
Hold on. GQ Man of the Year awards tonight in London.
Yeah, but you knew what you were doing there, sneaky Eddie Hearn. You know what you were doing there, man.
You've just got such a devious mind that you think.
Why would Bivol then, who's a very sensible, intelligent person, why would he put congratulations then?
Okay, let's just break it. Well, congratulations just for being there, yeah?
Yeah, that's what you do. Well done for getting transport to a venue. Well done, mate.
So get this. GQ Man of the Year awards tonight in London. And you think that says, yeah, I've just won Man of the Year at the GQ Awards.
Mate, let me just get this up quickly. You look quite sharp in it, though, also.
Says, always a pleasure.
Wait.
I'll tell you what it says.
Right, so you put a picture of you in your
GQ
Tom
Man of the
Sweeney.
Year awards, tonight in London, always a pleasure at Tom Sweeney. Yeah? That's what I put.
No, but you put...
Did I put that?
Yeah, but you put Man of the Year in, like, capitals, like the first letters in capital. Then it's like, awards tonight. Always a pleasure.
GQ Man of the Awards tonight in London, always a pleasure.
You put Man... Why did you... Like, the way you put Man of the Year. What?
Handsome.
Bosh, can you see that?
But listen...
Right, well done. Just go with it.
I should have won Man of the Year.
Who won it?
It wasn't... Actually, this year was a different structure. It wasn't even really awards. It was just saying well done to Men of the Year. Of course I was one, you know, but I didn't win anything. If there was an award, I probably would have won it, but I never said I won an award.
If there was like a boxing Man of the Year award by whoever, where do you think this year you would have come? I'd say you... No, like just for everything. Nothing to do with what you do. Like, no fights you mate, just the man you are, you know?
Man. What was that? Just the man that you are.
Where would you come?
I think that... I think we had a good year. I think I've knocked my absolute bollocks out this year. I couldn't have worked 1% harder than I've worked this year. All you can ever do is do your best.
Okay. Might start doing IFL Man of the Year award and IFL Woman of the Year award because, you know.
Of course, very important.
Very important. Thank you very much, Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week for a massive show. Bosh.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.